We officially have 8 o'clock. Thank you all for joining us. I'll officially call the Town of Simsbury Public Safety Subcommittee meeting to order. If we could all rise and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Good. And to the Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's nice to see everyone on a beautiful April showers morning here. We'll quickly do a roll call just so that the folks at home that are listening and for everybody's benefit, we know who's on the phone. I know there's a lot of video today, but again, we'll just go quickly through this. Melissa Appleby.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Melissa. Chief Baldus.
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. Mike Barry.
Michael Barry's here.
Michael, good morning. Chief Bolter.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Chief. Town Manager Maria Capriola.
Good morning.
Boss is in the office.
I am. I have to sign some stuff this morning.
Oh. All right, Kristen Formanak. I believe she's not going to be able to join us this morning, right, Maria? Okay. Jennifer Katanis sent a note. She's not able to join us as well, but did send an update. I see Kevin Kowalski. Morning, Kevin.
Here.
Mark Kritz.
Morning.
Morning. Mike Long. I spoke to Mike last night. Mike's obviously got some conflicts going on right now, but he is doing well. Melissa Marquis. Mark Massaro. Sarah Nielsen.
Good morning.
There she is. I knew I could count on you. Chris Peterson.
Good morning, present, folks.
Morning, Chris. Mr. Roy, Tom Roy. He's on mute, but he's there, folks.
I'm here.
There he is. Nancy Sheets.
I'm here. Good morning.
Morning, Nancy. Karen Stewart.
Good morning. I'm here.
Morning, Karen. Neil Sullivan.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. And Gary Wilcox's iPad.
Good morning. We're
There he
well.
is. We said we always save the best for last, Gary. Thank you.
There you go.
Is anyone else out there that I did not call? All right, we will get this going. Maria, I don't have any comments from public audience. Do you?
Did not receive any.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Karen, thank you again for hanging with us every week and once again putting together some great minutes. We all have a draft for our review. Are there any questions, changes, updates? All right. Those minutes will stand as presented. All right. As I said, Jennifer Katanis is obviously very busy right now, and she had a conflict this morning. She did send us an update, which I will quickly share. The Farmington Valley Health District continues to issue summary reports, which are posted and shared with municipal leaders. They are closely tracking the governor's Open CT task force so that we can provide the best guidance to our towns, businesses, and others when restrictions slowly begin to lift. We are having meetings with different departments on implementations of guidelines, rec departments yesterday, social services today, and we are receiving modest PPE for distribution to community-based healthcare providers. So those are the 3 highlights that Jennifer had for us this morning. I would entertain questions, but I don't have any answers for you. But if there are questions, we can obviously capture them and send them to Jennifer. Or if there are concerns or issues that are on any of your minds, we can certainly facilitate getting those to Jennifer. All right. It's the quietest this group's ever been. All right, Maria. Give us an update on the town side, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, and I'll just add real quick to the health district update. Jennifer and her team had sent around some statistics for us a few days ago. And as of April 28th, there were 370 lab confirmed cases amongst all of the health district towns. They were reporting 63 cases in Simsbury, and that folks over the age of 80 was the largest group of confirmed cases. And sadly, about 50 deaths in all of our Farmington Valley towns related to COVID. And those were preliminary numbers as of the 28th, but since she was unable to participate, I thought I would share those this morning. All right, so moving on to the town update. Our public buildings do remain closed at this time. Staff is again mostly working remotely for our administrative staff, but still reporting to duty as needed in our buildings. I've been really impressed with the creativity of staff. And during the crisis, they've continued to develop additional online services to meet the needs of our residents. The library has begun to provide notary services remotely, which is wonderful. That is still a needed service, and they have that set up. Folks can make appointments for that service by contacting the library. The library and the senior center are doing virtual programming. The planning department is still working on implementation of being able to do residential building inspections through a video feature, and we're hoping to roll that out fully next week. We still are seeing upticks in certain areas of our work, such as land record filings, code enforcement cases, and we've seen an increased number of individuals contacting social services for assistance. Normally, outside of the pandemic, we have about 80 households that we typically provide regular food assistance to through our monthly Tuesday program. But what's different is we're seeing contact from a lot of individuals who have never contacted the department before, who are struggling with food insecurity. Our parks and golf crews are still reporting to work. They have modified their work practices, but they are keeping our parks and golf course maintained at this time. And when we get to the public works and police updates, I'll let the chief and Tom Roy cover those particular departments. The transfer station still remains temporarily closed at this time. If our residents need assistance with an additional recycling bin or a dumpster, or if you need bulky item pickup at your curb, please contact your trash hauler. And if there is an emergency disposal need, to please contact Public Works. Let's see, our playgrounds, our skate park, basketball courts, tennis courts, and paddle tennis courts do remain closed to the public at this time, but the parks for passive recreation, such as walking and hiking, are remaining open at this time. The governor's executive order was extended through at least May 20th regarding our meetings being closed to the public. So I suspect that we'll be operating, in this mode at least through probably, the end of May with our video meetings and accepting public comments through email. Let's see, we are currently also working on determining whether or not we'll be able to hold the budget referendum on May 30th. At this time, I would say that's very unlikely. A key group of stakeholders who are involved in that process, including our registrars, we're actually meeting tomorrow to discuss that. But again, I think at this time, it's probably unlikely that we'll be able to hold a referendum. We are accepting donations at this time. We have a lot of residents who have been very generous, and we continue to get inquiries from people who would like to help in some way. We have a group of folks in town who are sewing face masks. We have received over 600 sewn face masks from sewers and crafters in town. Social Services is helping to coordinate that. We are redistributing those face masks out to anyone in town who could use one. So if you are in need of a face mask, please don't hesitate to reach out to Social Services. We're also accepting toiletries, non-perishable food items, gift cards to grocery stores, gas stations, and laundromats. We are also accepting financial donations for our food programs and to help meet emergency needs of our residents. And if somebody wants to provide a financial donation, we're accepting checks by mail. And we also have a secure drop box in front of Eno Hall right now. In regards to our businesses, I want to thank Mainstream Partnership, the Chamber, and our business resource librarian, Andrew Sherman. They have just been doing a phenomenal job of assisting our business community and keeping them up to date with information that's available. So I wanted to thank them for that work. And a quick follow-up from last meeting, I was able to confirm with our planning department that we have not yet received any complaints regarding temporary signage people may see up for some of our struggling businesses, banners saying we're open, temporary signs saying curbside pickup for food or takeout, options available. And planning, the planning staff will not be doing stringent enforcement of signs at this time. So we just wanted to make sure that if there was a rumor or misunderstanding out there, that there would be vigilant sign enforcement during this time. That certainly will not be the case. That's the last thing we want, our business community worrying about right now. And just lastly, a plug for opportunities for residents to stay informed. Please don't forget, if you have not yet already signed up for our email subscription service, to do that by going to our homepage and follow us on our various social media accounts. Thanks. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Maria. And if we could just touch on, there was some confusion and I think clarification needed around the golf course, in that the social distancing policy is still very much enforced at the golf course. And one of our residents was confused because they saw two people in a cart at one time. It was a husband and wife. There is a special protocol for those that are quarantining together to be able to ride in a golf course. When they're obviously living together, they can ride in a golf court together. But obviously two folks from a different households that are not in the same situation are not being permitted to be within the social distance.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. Thank you, Sean.
So there's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of folks with time on their hands, perhaps taking photographs in parking lots. I'm confused by why that would happen. But again, everybody from the town side is certainly being safe and following through on our rules and policies. So, all righty. Any questions for Maria? Maria, thank you, and to you, your staff, the whole team, for doing a really outstanding job here in a very prolonged, challenging time with a lot of moving parts.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really proud of the staff. They've just done amazing things over the last 2 months, and they're doing really good work. So thank you.
Yep. And I will say too, folks have given feedback, had questions. And I'm not going to say we're making this up as we go. We're using the expertise that we have, the training that all you folks have, to adapt to this current situation. There's going to be things we're going to learn from this. We're going to debrief. I'm sure Kevin will lead us through a very thoughtful exercise once we're through this, in terms of what could we have done better, what can we prepare differently for. And we're very open to that feedback. But let's from the resident side, if you see something that doesn't make sense, just ask, versus getting on Facebook and making assumptions, or again, all the other things that go on. It's a stressful time. And the professionals on this call are doing everything right based on what we know. And there'll be an opportunity to review that after we get through this, just as we would with any incident. So, all right, to that, Kevin and Michael, emergency management.
All right, Kevin, you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Okay. Continuing on with what we've been monitoring. We were on the governor's conference call yesterday, getting an update from the governor on what's going on. The state is starting to shift from the emergency mode to the recovery mode, as we all know. Supposedly today, they're going to be releasing the plan for the state on reopening businesses. So we're waiting for that information to come through. There was a recovery webinar yesterday for people to start looking at how we're going to put together teams to start putting your municipalities back together. So we're going to be having conferences and discussions about that, about who we're going to put on our committee within the town here. There was also, we put on WSIM, the latest governor spots that we received. So that information is being pumped out on WSIM. So make sure that people listen to that. We also updated the information for the local restaurants that are still open and providing takeout and delivery service. And we updated the local businesses that are fully open. There's several spots running on that. The list is very long. We didn't want to make it about a 2 or 3 minute spot, so we broke it up into different segments. So those different segments will be running different times of the day. So if you don't hear your business that's open, don't be offended by it. It's been running in several different spots. We are continuing to provide long-term care assistance to the facilities that require it. We have been working with the Medical Reserve Corps to provide personnel to the ones that are requesting personnel. So we're trying to keep up on that as much as we can. The pods, the point of distributions, are continuing. We've added a second point of distribution. Normally Region 3 holds theirs on Wednesdays. Now they're opening up Tuesdays and Wednesdays to try to get PPE out to the first responders and to the long-term care facilities. We know that there is scarce supply. We are issuing out what we can to the many facilities that are asking. The fire department was able to get a supply of PPE on Tuesday. Again, I went down and worked with the incident management team as the operations section chief to make sure that we did get a supply. And I personally made sure that we got what we were allotted, which was in a it was a little bit more than what other municipalities received, so it was good that we started making a catch up on that. I was not able to attend the pod yesterday, so I don't know how that went for the first responders with Simsbury Volunteer Ambulance and the long-term care facilities. I'm sure Karen might be able to give us an update on that if she was able to receive anything. With that, that is what we're looking at. I'm sure Kevin's going to give you an update because he put out some information on the upcoming weather and situation with the river. So with that, I'll turn it over to Kevin.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I'll start off with the weather event. The storm coming in again tonight. Seems like we're getting one every week to keep us occupied during this time. And we're anticipating that it will stay below the flood stage, but it'll be into the action stage. So we'll be monitoring it. The concern we have currently is, low level flooding and areas, stormwater. And I know Tom Roy and his group are doing a heck of a job trying to make sure the catch basins are cleared and of debris and able to drain it. So that's what we'll be looking at, between 2 and 3 inches of rain this afternoon and tonight into tomorrow morning. The other items are just to follow up with the convalescent homes in town. We've been getting almost daily reports back and forth and working with them to make sure they're able to handle what they have. It's a very challenging event for them. Obviously, everyone knows that. Yesterday, I was able to meet with one of the homes, and they were short of equipment. We were able to get them more masks out of our cache of the fire department over to them to tide them over, and they were able to get, I believe, 200 more N95s yesterday during the pickup for their needs. So they are getting some equipment. We're also able to get them their the test pod for the mask to help their nurses get tested before they wear them. And if they change the type of mask, they have to be retested. So that's what we were able to get to them yesterday, and we touched base with them. So just to follow up a little bit more on the recovery committee, we'll be looking for someone to be the recovery chair on that in the community to try to get things going. So probably be a longer term event as far as the recovery committees go. Could be upwards of 4 to 6 months, I would anticipate. Maria, correct? That's what we'd be looking for, and it would be a group effort to make sure that we can help people out along the way somehow, businesses and local people. One other thing I want to add on the business side of things, again, we're basing our needs based on, again, the senior citizens, which is a targeted area, and also our first responders, and then the business community is our third focus. And the business community received on Tuesday, we picked up 800 masks for them to operate the next week or so. And we're handing them out as they come and pick them up, or we'll drop them off. So we were able to get 800 of them. And I would say probably 2/3 of them are out already. So that's pretty much all I have. I'll take any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Kevin? Kevin and Mike, thank you for all your work there. And hopefully the rain gives us all a break, or gives you guys a break, so that we don't have to deal with that event. All right, moving on. Chief Bolter, police.
Good morning, everybody. Just a quick update on staffing. We have maintained adequate levels. We did have, since the beginning of March, we did have 3 police officers who have been out for COVID-19 related symptoms. 1 has tested negative, 2 have tested negative, 2 have returned to work. The other one is eligible to return to work. It's just working on another side incident right now, another different illness, but we'll be back, I believe, this evening or tomorrow. So again, staffing is adequate. As far as our PPE supply, thank you to Karen and SVAA for doing our weekly pickups at those pods. And it is also adequate. we keep getting some supplies in here and there, and anything that is a surplus is going to the fire department. Thank you again for storing that for the entire community. We did receive some gloves from the school system last week, I believe it was, and it was a good amount of mixture of gloves that we can make use of. And then just a kudos to a couple different groups. One being the custodial staff here. They continue to clean, keep our environment safe for us on not just a regular basis, several times each and every day. I'm getting some feedback from a lot of people about the birthday parades that the fire department has been coordinating, the police department involved in, the ambulance and public works. And I think those have been tremendous for our community. Really tough times for a lot of people. And it's not just the family that the birthday parade is for. The whole entire neighborhood has been coming out and waving and responding either through social media or phone calls directly to us. So keep up the great work on that. I think it's a very good community initiative that's going on. Otherwise, our calls for service remain fairly constant. I like the level that we're seeing right now as far as the amount of criminal activity. It is well within reason, and our officers continue to respond to the medical calls that are deemed the most serious, and then they're handling a lot of the other calls as much as they can by way of telephone. And then otherwise they're responding to homes and asking people to come outside and staying very safe and doing a very good job at that. And that's it, unless anybody has any questions.
Chief, I appreciate that. And am I correct that there was a special birthday parade last week?
There was, yeah.
There was?
Yeah, there were several special ones, two in particular with this group.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Let's share a little bit more about that. We got to have some happy news on this. So I see one of them smiling on the top of my screen. Was it Chief Baldus's birthday? Is that correct?
It was. Yeah. And then we had a relative of somebody with an iPad.
Ah. So, Mr. Wilcox as well, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, I saw the conspiracy for Mr. Baldus is on Facebook there. So that was well planned. So hopefully that was enjoyable, Chief. I'm sorry I wasn't able to participate. All right. Somebody's off mute. Somebody's doubling back here. Give folks a second. Okay. All right. Karen Stewart, ambulance.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
I was able to go yesterday to pick up our weekly allotment from the state for PPE. It wasn't
you are unmuted.
Amount of stuff with the police department. Currently, we are fairly well stocked. Right now, our biggest need is for gowns, so I'm on a hunt for those. I do have some on order, but they have not arrived yet, so we're still working on that. All of our staff has been healthy. We've had many calls that involve exposures, but our crews are being very diligent about making sure they have their proper PPE on and keeping themselves protected, and then disinfecting the ambulance after the call. So otherwise, I really don't have anything new to report. We're just kind of holding the line as we go along. Our call volume is still down. So I can only reiterate again what I've said every week so far. If you need us, call 911. We're here for you. And that's really all I have that's new, if that's really new information. So if anybody has any questions or any concerns, I'll be happy to take questions.
Karen, thank you. Questions for Karen? Appreciate that. You guys are motivated to move through this morning. All right, let's go to the chief and go to fire. Chief Baldus.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for the well-wishing. That was one of the most surprising things that ever happened to me. I'll tell you what, those people that were able to keep me off of any social media or any other contact was an absolute surprise. And thanks again for everybody's well-wish. Something I would never have asked for and never want to see again, but it was nice to have it that one time. So thanks very, very much. We're actually in very good shape. I'm continuing to happy in reporting the fact that none of our staff is either on watches or have had any kind of cases involving COVID-19. You know, and for a membership that broaches almost 100 people, that's really good news, because of even with social distancing, you know, obviously people still have to get out to stores and so forth. So they're doing the right things and keeping prepared to help our citizens here in town. So we're very, very grateful for that. I also want to also maybe underscore what Karen said and give her a kudos for the work that they're doing. The fact that, you know, they're dealing with actual COVID patients, and the fact that they've not had any kind of instances. Certainly the exposure potential is there, but obviously their PPE protocols are right up to where they need to be to keep our staff safe. So congratulations, Karen, and to you and your staff for doing a great job with that. Calls continue to be pretty quiet in town, which is good. People are staying safe, and we certainly appreciate that. And you know, the other thing basically is that we are continuing to look ahead at the weather with Kevin's continued reports on the potential for some rain. We're prepared. Our pumps are ready in the event that we do need them. Hopefully not, but should we have the weather come in to the extent or worse than predicted, we're prepared. So we're in good shape.
Appreciate that, Chief. Thank you. All right, Neil and Mark, Board of Ed.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Also, I don't think a lot new to report this week. Our guidance from the governor has not changed, although his media sponsors talk about him not being able to foresee opening for the rest of this school year. He hasn't officially made that call yet. So we still sit on May 20th as a date, but are not viewing it as likely that we will open for the rest of this school year. I have been asked by our superintendent, Matt Curtis, to form a planning group for when we do reopen, whenever that is. So we're in the process of putting together that team that will involve, obviously, our Mark, our director of security, our custodial maintenance leaders, our nurses, our administrators, to start that planning process of what a new normal might look like for our school system. So we'll probably be meeting in the first part of May here to get that going. We have started to look at what we have a full slate of summer programming that we have to make decisions about, and working with our Department of Continuing Education and with Parks and Recs, who use a lot of our buildings in the summer. There is some guidance out from the state on youth summer camps. It sort of follows what the daycare centers that have been able to stay open because they take care of the kids of first responders and healthcare workers. The summer camp guidance is similar to that, with which pictures groups no larger than 10 and staff wearing masks and things like that. So we're hoping that the governor's reopening committee gives further guidance on that, but we have started to think about those programs, which are a vital part of what we do as well. So other than that, our grab and go is very much at the same level as it's been, and everybody's kind of hanging in there, doing their thing with distance learning. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions for Neil? All right. Thank you, Neil. Appreciate you keeping everybody safe. Mr. Roy, Public Works.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. Right now, I'm happy to report our staffing is still adequate. We've been practicing our social distancing and putting in a good number of engineering controls to keep the crews separated and wearing masks when they're not able to be. Right now, we're starting to look at preparing our town buildings for eventually getting back to the new normal. We're looking at plexiglass separators. We've ordered a few supplies, and we're going to be looking to outfit all of the counters so that when we get back to opening to the public, we'll have the separation that we need to keep everybody safe. We are working on, hopefully within the next 2 weeks, if not next week, soft opening for the transfer station. We've met with the operator and we're looking at ways of keeping folks down there separated, some additional signage, and hopefully we'll have some news on that before the end of this week. As was mentioned earlier, we have some heavy rain coming in, so we're going to be prepared for potential street flooding and also keeping an eye on the river. And other than that, we're just continuing to support the other town initiatives and programs.
Thank you, Tom. Hopefully we don't have to bring out the rowboats later. Although I know about 100 folks that are good at paddling, so. Come on, that was supposed to be funny, guys. It's hard to do jokes on Zoom calls when everybody's on mute. Especially bad dad jokes. All right, Maria, social services, place of Kristen, please.
Yeah, so I think I covered the key social services items under my report. So I think we can probably go ahead to the next item.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. Thank you for
Coffee
checking.
Coffee hasn't fully kicked in yet. We're
Yeah, likewise. But thanks for double checking.
making sure. Okay, Nancy, VNA.
Good morning. I am happy to say we're doing well. I think that while we always love to get a little more PPE because you never know what's coming, we're doing fine. We're taking care of COVID patients successfully. To date, our staff is healthy. I guess I just have a small feel-good story to share with you because I think at this point anything is always good to hear. You know, we are nonprofit. We receive donations of all kinds, and over the course of this past 2 months, it's been crazy the amount that people have been reaching out to us. But yesterday I received a letter from a retired woman in the Farmington Valley who shared with me that she received relief money from the government, but felt that it was crucial because she really didn't need that to give it back to first responders and people in the community that actually are taking care of patients, and she actually donated it back to us. So it's just crazy, the amount of giving that's really out there, and I just thought it was worth noting.
Beautiful story. Thank you, Nancy. That's a good reminder in all this sadness that there's a lot of good stuff that is happening out there, not just with your teams, primarily with your teams, obviously, but also with the residents being so generous. So that's really outstanding. Thank you. Yeah. Between the parade and that, this is a pretty good meeting. We got the chief to smile earlier, so that's there he is.
Sean, we've got people using their emojis now. I mean, we're really
I know. I can't believe Mr. Kowalski knows how to use emojis. I'm impressed, Kevin. All right.
I have 8-year-old grandsons.
What's that?
I said I have 8-year-old grandsons.
There you go. All right, Sarah, Main Street Partnership and our business community.
So not a ton to report because we haven't had any executive orders that have impacted the business community since last Thursday, which is good news. We are continuing to work to help phase in businesses. I want to thank Jennifer Katanis. We've been in touch with her about some salon questions and what they can be doing and gearing them up to do some contact or no contact purchases. We're still working on state approval for businesses like Vincent Sport Shop, which got approval to do, again, no contact purchases within 5 hours yesterday. I want to say a special thanks to our state rep, John Hampton, and our state senator, Kevin Whitcoast, because they've been working with me every step of the way. I want to mention something I forgot to mention last week, but is germane to public safety. Another issue we've been having is connectivity issues. I want to thank Kevin Kowalski. We had an issue with several of our businesses and the firehouse out. Comcast was out about a week and a half ago. And, you know, again, especially in a pandemic, things like connectivity are incredibly important. They're important regardless, but they're incredibly important right now where people are, you know, can only call in or go online. And so thanks to Kevin for helping us solve that very quickly within a couple of hours. I'd like to be part of the recovery team. I'm working with almost every business on a regular basis, so I would be very interested in being part of the recovery team. And then again, a final note to the people watching that Simsbury Main Street Partnership hosts the comprehensive business list. I believe it's the one that WSIMS has been using, but it has all of the restaurants open and closed and their services, and all of the Simsbury businesses open, modified open, or closed. And you can find that list on shopsimsbury.com. We just updated it again this week.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate all your efforts. Folks, questions for Sarah? All right, I'll open it up to additional folks. Mark Massaro, other folks, any updates, questions, concerns?
Hey, Sean, if I can just add one thing. I'm not sure I ever mentioned this before at a previous meeting, and with the weather coming in and the river being so high, just this past month in April, we received our replacement rescue boat.
Okay.
Which is in service. We've been fully trained on it. This is a flat bottom type of boat with a 60 horsepower motor. So if we do get into any kind of swift water, we have the maneuverability for it. It can hold upwards of 8 people or better. So we have that in service in addition to the inflatable rescue boat that we also put in service last fall. So
Okay.
we're in really good shape from a river perspective.
Excellent. Hopefully you don't have to use those, but good to know they're available.
Thanks.
Sean, I just wanted to make a note that there's quite a bit of resources on our eversource.com website.
Okay.
For residents and for businesses. We have a new phone number that I'll get that information out to Maria to share for businesses to call in. We have some specially trained representatives that are answering questions, not just Eversource-based questions, but for business customers to help guide them through a lot of different questions and concerns that they might have going through all of this. So I'll get all that information out as quickly as I can.
I appreciate that. Yeah, if you could send that to both Maria and Sarah, or just the entire public safety team, if that's easier, just to make sure
Absolutely.
that we got it.
Absolutely.
Mark, appreciate that update. Thank you. All right, do we have any other business before us this morning? I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you for your hard work and for your teams. Stay safe, and I look forward to talking to you guys again in a week. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Take care, everybody.